Hitting record. Okay. So, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Thank you for joining. Today, we're going to be doing Criterion Conversation number 4. And I'm joined by my guest here, Alex, or Cinema Inspired. So, thanks for joining, man. How's it going?
Good, man. A little tired, but that's the adult life, working all the time. So
Yeah,
other
dude.
than that, life's pretty good.
I feel that. I feel that for sure. Well, I appreciate you making the time, anyways, and finding the energy to be here. But I'm excited, man. We're going to be talking about this movie right here, and that's All That Money Can Buy.
Nice.
Somewhat of a recent release, and this is spy number 214. So we're going to be diving into the film, our thoughts, special features, what we think of the packaging, and if we think it's worth picking up, which we both did, obviously.
Yeah.
So have you? I want to ask you real quick. Have you ever heard of this film before the Criterion? I know that it was already on Criterion because this is an early-ish spy number.
Yeah.
So this was the first time on Blu-ray. But have you ever heard or seen of it before?
Nah, man. I never heard anyone talk about this movie or recommend it. This was I was actually like, when the sale started, I wasn't sure if I wanted to get it. Like the story sounded fantastic, but I just wasn't sure. And then it was actually I read Vin's review on it, and that put me over the edge, and I decided to get it. Ended up being the first movie that I watched out of my haul, and it's been one of my favorites that I've watched from this recent haul.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, man. Same here. I hadn't heard about it until it was announced, and I was immediately intrigued by the artwork. I
Yeah,
think it's really cool there, and we'll
yeah,
get into that later on. But yeah, I think Vin also, I saw his review, and another buddy that I follow on Letterbox, they both rated it pretty high. So that was my first time hearing
yeah.
about it, and it kind of piqued my interest. But yeah, so if anyone is not too familiar with it, or we are going to get into some minor spoilers here. We also will do some non-spoiler talk, but I'll put some timestamps in the description in case you want to skip ahead of the spoiler. So um, I guess we'll get into the spoilers in a minute, but just a general plot or the general story of this. And correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but it basically follows this farmer, Jabez Stone, who is on the verge of losing his land. He's kind of struggling. He's in debt, and he agrees to sell his soul to the devil. So that's basically the gist of it. I know it goes into some other parts, with some politician involved, but um, I guess what are your general thoughts of the film? I mean, obviously you enjoyed it, but um, like, were you mostly positive on it? Did you think there were some negatives?
Yeah, man. It exceeded my expectations for sure. So about the plot, like the whole sell your soul to the devil thing, I'm super intrigued by that, right? Because the whole it's hard not to pay attention to celebrities and their success and their fame and everything like that. And it's always like that question, like, what did they sell in order to get to where they're at? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I kind of it was that's always been an intriguing topic. So when I heard about the movie, I was super interested in checking it out. But yeah, man, like in terms of I really, the only like slight negative that I have is a little bit of the ending. Just because like I'm personally like a dark person,
Hmm.
and the way, like, I guess this is a spoiler. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, we can jump into a little bit of spoilers, and then
Yeah.
I'll put
So
some
like,
timestamps.
yeah. So like in the end, he basically like his deal gets ripped up. So he ends up not selling his soul to the devil in the end. I personally would have actually liked him like to just get fucked up, like life over. You
Yeah.
did it. You know that was the deal that you made, and that's your fate. That's just me personally. Like I don't dislike the ending, but I'm just more of a darker kind of person.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, like I thought the pacing was pretty good. I thought the performances were excellent, especially. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say I know what the guy's name off the top of my head is. I'm not familiar with these actors, but the guy is specifically who did Mr. Scratch. Like I
Yep.
thought he was. I
Walter
thought
Huston, I believe.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was amazing, and like I didn't find this out until after the supplements he was actually nominated for an Oscar for his performance in that,
Yeah.
which was crazy. And I even wrote in my Letterbox review, if this movie was remade today, that's a perfect role for Willem Dafoe. The whole like
Yeah.
facial mannerisms and just the way that he like would squint his eye and just it was amazing. But yeah, man, all positives from me. Really, I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I can totally see Willem Dafoe playing a character
Yeah,
like that, dude. That'd be actually awesome.
yeah,
Because of the facial expressions and things of that nature. But
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with you, man. As far as like the ending goes, because like I feel like in the beginning he was so eager to sell his soul. Like I know he was in desperation, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess maybe not all of us, but a lot of us can relate to that, being in that situation of struggling. Current economy that we're in and things like that. And so at times you feel like you do anything to make sure that your family's okay and that there's food on the table. So he kind of just, random figure pops out of nowhere and he just signs this
Yeah,
paper, selling his life away. And he actually becomes kind of a piece of shit human being, like
yeah,
like in the middle of the movie, he's like neglecting his wife.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he lets kind of like power and money get to him a little bit, or a lot actually. And then by the end, there's like no repercussions. It's like he just, yeah, I agree with you. Like I would have liked to see him maybe pay for his sins, I guess,
Is
in
this
a way. So
I'm glad that you brought that up though, because I think that was the right thing to do though, in terms of kind of for his character arc. Because at the beginning, you feel for the guy, like
yeah,
no one, all of us, we want to provide for our families, and that's what he does. And at the beginning of the film, he says to his mom, "I would sell my soul." Did he say it to his mom or to his wife? He said, "I'd sell my soul for 2 cents." So it shows you how like the urgency to
yeah,
provide it is there. But I like how he kind of turns into a piece of shit, because it helps with the character arc. It kind of makes you dislike him, but then by the end you're kind of like, when you see him struggling, you kind of feel for him again. So I think it was the right decision for his character development. But yeah, like I think there should have been maybe some repercussions in the end.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, one of the things that I liked a lot from the get go was like the mood setting. Like right away, they show Mr. Scratch or the devil, and he's like this mysterious figure. You kind
Yeah,
of figure it's a devil, but you don't know. Like, but just like the backdrop, like that black and white farm setting, kind of that middle of nowhere isolated feeling. So it's like it kind of feels, and they say this in the beginning with the intro and the text, like this could happen to you. So
yeah,
it kind of puts you in that situation where like this feels like an actual folk tale, like something that happened and it's just a story that's been passed down. So I like that feeling of like this is a story, it could have happened, it could have been true. So like that setting the mood, it feels like a really cool movie to watch, I think, especially like during October, during like maybe fall, winter time of year. And yeah, I really like that, like the whole aesthetic, the whole um yeah, I guess, like, yeah, aesthetic, the mood.
yeah. I thought that like the tone of the film, the cinematography, like it was all really well done, and it all added to the atmosphere.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're right, man. Like this is like, it's not like a scary movie, but like this is such a perfect like October kind of fall autumn type of movie for me. And this is one I see myself revisiting this every year. Like I enjoyed it that much.
Well, yeah, I get that, man, for sure. I don't think this is one that I'll probably watch like every year, but definitely like I could see myself watching this again. Like I did enjoy it. But and then also like they well, so after that they, we introduced to because you mentioned cinematography. So one of the shots that I really thought was pretty cool was that shot where they introduced Daniel Webster, and there's like this shadow behind him, and it's like
Mm.
kind of like devil talking in his ear, like that
Yeah,
silhouette.
yeah,
And
they did that a couple times.
yeah,
Yeah, they did that a couple times in the film. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, we'll talk about like some of the special features where they actually talk about like the directing style and kind of how the film was made and stuff like that, and the different techniques that they used. And yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, man, like I said, I thought that like all that was really on point, man. Like the the camera techniques, the how they transitioned into like different scenes, and it all added to like the great atmosphere of the film.
Yeah, for sure, man. Um, okay, so is there anything else you wanted to add as far as like any spoiler talk, or we can maybe move away from some spoilers and kind of just give some more thoughts on the
No,
maybe the
I think it's good to mention that like the actors were phenomenal. Like everyone across the board was really good, and I also really liked the his wife in the film. Like I thought she was a really likable, a very likable character, and that also adds to kind of you disliking the main character because he treats her so shit in that middle of the film, and but I guess that's what fame and money does to you.
yeah. Now that you mentioned his family, it kind of reminded me how like at the beginning they're trying to I think they were trying to go to church or something. Like they were trying to make it to a sermon, and that's when everything starts going wrong for Jabus. And that's when he starts uh, like I think a fox gets into his
Yeah.
chicken coop, and he drops a bag of seeds
Yes.
and like in the mud, and so like everything starts going wrong, and that's when he's like really desperate. Um,
It kind of
and
happens like right at the beginning of the film. Like it gets straight into it.
yeah, because it has like that theme of like religion in there, because
Yeah.
they read like a passage from the Bible, and so his family is real religious. So and it must have made his decision that much harder, because even when he says out loud like I'd sell my soul to the devil for 2 cents, like right away he's like looking around like nobody heard that, like because if his family heard that, they probably who knows what
They
they
were
think of
yelling
him.
at him for saying that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So then that's when, of course, Mr. Scratch comes in, and yeah, like you mentioned, man, like earlier about that Oscar nomination, like I didn't know that either until I was reading up on the movie, and yeah, man, that's pretty crazy. I don't know, did he actually win that one? I
I
don't
don't think he did.
remember.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that actor in anything else
No, to
in
be
film.
honest, I'm not familiar with the cast whatsoever. Like I said, like I'm not going to pretend that I know their names off the top of my head. But no, but they were all fantastic, man. Like they were really really good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, and well, in the title, I actually want to bring up Daniel Webster again, because in the title of the film is All That Money Can Buy. It's a really bad angle there, but and then it says also known as the Devil and Daniel Webster. So maybe we'll get into a little bit more during the special features, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was reading up on that. This film was actually titled originally Devil and Daniel Webster. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it was actually. I think it was actually. Here is a man. That it was
Yeah,
called.
it went through like multiple names before they finally settled on All That Money Can Buy. But Devil and Daniel Webster was, I think, was the first one. But I think they wanted to avoid confusion with another movie that kind of came around at the same time, and it was called Devil and Miss Jones. So they wanted to avoid confusion, like similar titles. So they changed it to, um, I think, A Certain Mr. Scratch. Maybe not necessarily in this order, but A Certain Mr. Scratch, Flesh and Gold, Here Is a Man, and then finally All That Money Can Buy. But yeah, so it went through several titles until they finally settled on All That Money Can Buy.
I think because the film came out in 1941, and I think when the movie came out, I think that's when the studio decided to do it as All That Money Could Buy. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but I think that's what happened because the short story. I have a couple notes here because it came out in 1936, and then there was multiple adaptations of stories made up off of the character Daniel Webster. So there was like 3 short stories that they made in like 37 and like 38 or something like that. And then yeah, so all based off of Daniel Webster. And then they did the movie, and then I think that's when they changed it to All That Money Can Buy. Because I don't think prior to the film, I don't think it was ever called All That Money Can Buy.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
It's got a little bit of it has a lot of history,
Oh
really.
yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
a ton of history. So it's a little confusing. If you read up on it, it'll be a little bit easier. It's better than my explaining. But Yeah.
Yeah, because well, Daniel Webster was actually, I read that he was based on a real politician. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that, but yeah, I think he ran for president. Well, I think I got this off Wikipedia, but I think he ran for president uh like twice, and which is interesting because in the movie he's like the devil's trying to convince him to like, run for president, like you'll have all this power. And because Daniel Webster's another character in the movie who is also being like enticed by the devil, and he kind of ends up working with Jabez towards the end. But yeah, so like in real life, he actually ended up losing. He never became president, obviously, but
Oh.
I thought that was pretty interesting how he kind of the writer of the original story tied up real life characters with this kind of like folktale. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's interesting that you bring that up because I did hear about that. Yeah, I think he ran. I don't know if it was twice. I'm not sure, but yeah, he because I think it was in the special features they mentioned how like um, he could have been like one of the best, but he never won or something like that. They dive into it a little bit. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I think it was based off of a real politician.
Yeah, that short story. And then another thing that I found interesting as I was doing some research was that as far as the film goes, I think, well, shout out to Criterion because they were able to finally put a solid release out of this film. Because for the
Yeah.
longest time, when this came out early on in the 50s, it actually only was released as an 85-minute version. So for the longest time, people were only able to watch that edited version, which I'm not sure what scenes were left out or what, but uh, until finally Criterion released the laser disc. I'm not sure what year, but that's when they finally put out this 106-minute cut of the film.
Ah,
So yeah, throughout 56 up until the laser disc, that's the only version you could watch. It was like an 85-minute version.
that's interesting. I didn't know about that. You did some some
I did some digging, man. I did
yeah.
some digging. I think that was part of the special features, which we can start getting into some of the packaging and special features. So
Yeah.
maybe we can talk about what the whole package here. But yeah, so this just comes in the regular, standard case, like I mentioned already. Some really cool artwork, I think, with that's Mr. Scratch, and I guess that's the shadowy figure I was talking about.
hmm
And so, yeah, what do you think about the artwork and I mean, I know it has some interior artwork as well. Do you
Yeah,
like the?
I think the cover captures the film perfectly, and it kind of indicates what you're going to get with the movie.
Mhm.
But I think Criterion always kind of does a really good job. I love their packaging. I actually like these cases more than digipacks. I don't know why, I just do. But yeah, this cover I think is fantastic, and it has a little bit of inside artwork, not really
Yeah,
though.
I was looking at it, and it doesn't really.
Yeah,
The
it's
disc does
the
so.
border of when you're in the special features, it has like that border, and
Mhm.
the disc is kind of the same. It's basically the front cover there, and then of course you always get a little booklet with Criterion. This one is a little thin. I do like when they do like the thick ones, but still, regardless, it's actually the fold out one on this one.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool. I like that artwork as well.
Yeah.
An eerie image.
I actually didn't read this just because I haven't learned how to read yet. But I thought that going through the special features was going to give me all the information. But again, because I liked the whole release so much, I'll actually probably check that out, the actual pamphlet there.
Yeah, I read one of them. I was able to read because there's two. There's an essay and an article.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, well, as far as the packaging goes, real quick before we move on to the booklet, I agree. I think, well, I like a digipack, every now
yeah.
and then, but I think what these cases, I think they look better together on the shelf.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
But this booklet, this release does include a commentary with some film historians. I don't know if you listened to that at all.
Yeah. I
Um,
think I checked out. All of them. I was intrigued by really the one with Alec Baldwin, the reading of the short story from 1937. That was the one that I thought was actually really interesting. I didn't think I'd really enjoy it, but then when I got into it and he was doing the different characters, and especially when he did Mr. Scratch's role, like I just thought he nailed the voice perfectly, and it felt like I was literally just watching the movie. And next thing I knew, it was like 25 minutes in already.
Yeah, it's actually not too long of a story because it's if anyone doesn't know, it does include the original short story narrated by Alec Baldwin, of all people, with
Yeah,
kind
why?
of the stuff that he's going through right now. Actually, even so, that's kind of
Yeah,
interesting. But yeah, but he does have a really good reading voice, I will admit.
he did.
And it's really not too long. It's 33 minutes, so it's the whole movie kind of condensed into that 33 minutes, and I really enjoyed it because I feel like it did kind of give you a different perspective as far as like in terms of like what certain characters were thinking in certain moments. Like, I guess I don't know if we should get into spoilers again, but I guess spoiler free here. Uh, Towards the end, David Stone, the farmer, is going through, a certain situation where he's kind of fearing for his life. And um, obviously, when you're watching the film, you can see the fear in his eyes and his facial expressions. But when you're listening to Alec Baldwin kind of describe it, and you're in a sense, you're getting in his head, you're getting in the character's head. It's like reading a book. It's like when you're reading a book, you're just much more detailed. So I did like that. It kind of gave me a different perspective, and it helped me see certain character situations in a different light. So I did like that about that short story, and the fact that they put it in there, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, what I also liked about that was the fact that it was 33 minutes. It basically has the beginning of the story, and from the 15-minute mark onward, it's the ending. So the audio basically skips the entire middle of the film, which kind of in one way was a little disappointing because you didn't get to kind of see that character arc that I was talking at the beginning, where he kind of turns into a dick and all that. But it kind of just takes you right from the beginning to the end, and I also kind of like that at the same time, because it I think the weakest part of the movie was the middle. It might have felt like it dragged on a little bit, and
Yeah.
with that audio, it just kind of gets right into it, and you get straight to the end, and you figure out what happened, and it was good, man. I was really surprised by how much I liked it. And another thing too is that the the film followed like the original short story very very closely, and there's even like when they're doing the audio at the end, like it was a word for word
Yeah.
when
Some of the
he's
dialogue.
yeah, when he's talking about, I think it was Mr. Scratch was saying how he was like, "You don't think I'm an American citizen? Like I was here when the first Indians and all that stuff that he said near the end. I don't know word for word, but
Yeah.
it was literally the exact same as the film. So they did a really good job of keeping it super original from the short story.
Yeah, that's one other thing I wanted to mention. So I'm glad you brought it up. It's just like they stayed true to some of the dialogue
Yeah.
and verbatim there. So that was pretty cool. It was like, hey, I remember hearing that in the film.
Yeah. That was exactly my reaction. I heard that, and I was like, hey, "Dude, that's literally exactly what he said." So that was cool. If like you don't have that 106 minutes of like, you could literally just go and listen to it for 33 minutes, and you get the gist of the story.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I think it was a really cool added feature into this release.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it just left out some of the points of like his relationship, maybe with his mother and the wife, maybe another character that comes in, female character. I think it didn't really touch on that too much, but
Yeah, that's the whole part of the middle, right? Like,
yeah.
so when he starts treating his wife like shit, like pretty much that other chick comes into the story.
Hmm.
So they pretty much cut that part out. You don't really get his relationship with his mother, or even that other guy that ended up he sold his soul to the devil as well. And they're in the scene when he throws the party and they're together, and so like that whole part's I think cut out as well. It's basically just the intro where you find out that he's struggling, sells his soul, and then straight to the end with the whole jury system and court procedure kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is interesting too, that the film kind of turns into like a mini court procedure.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part of the film. I thought it was pretty interesting, and the characters they decided to bring in for that. With
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely, recommend checking out that short story if you get this release. That's a pretty cool feature. And then I guess we can just talk about this really quickly. You said you didn't read these, correct?
No.
Yeah, no, I only read one. It's actually an article by the original author of the story, and he
Oh
kind of
shit.
just writes about like why he wanted to write a story like this, and yeah, I don't remember details, but it's pretty interesting. So yeah, it's by Stephen Vincent Benet, I believe that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, original uh, article by him, which was printed in the New York Times just before the film's release, during its premiere at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. So that's pretty cool. So
So
this
like
was an
40,
actual article. Yeah, from the early 40s.
Yeah.
But what else?
Did you
So
check
talked
out?
about the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you check out the radio ones?
I don't believe I did. No.
So they did. So I think it was the fourth one. It was called like Columbia Workshop, and
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I didn't.
okay, so that I thought that was pretty interesting. It wasn't as good as the Alec Baldwin one, but basically, as I mentioned earlier, they made like 3 short stories based off of the character of Daniel Webster, and in the Criterion release, in the special features, they actually have like the radio broadcast of 2 of them. So it was from 1937 and 1938, and it's basically like, I think they were 30 minutes as well, and it's just that it's just them reading that story, but it was the one that was broadcasted over the radio back in the 30s, and I just thought it was really cool. Like, again, it wasn't as I'd say entertaining, I guess, because with the Baldwin version, like, he changed up his voice for the different actors,
Mhm.
and it kind of drew you in. This one is just pretty much the same, but that one was pretty cool as well. If you're interested, I only listened to the one of them, which was the 1938 dramatization of the short story, but then the 1937 version is actually called Daniel Webster and the Sea Serpent. So you mentioned that as well, how they had a couple different stories. So that was one of them that they actually broadcasted and put in the special features.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't really look into those, so I wasn't sure what they were, but that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but I was able to watch the observations on Film Art. I don't know if you
I
had a
did,
chance to
yeah.
check that one out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where they were talking about like the film techniques that they used, and
Yeah, some of the the filmmaking techniques that on in this film specifically,
yeah,
like one of the things that I wrote down was like their use of like fade to black, the transition between scenes and like the dissolve,
yeah.
kind of just to demonstrate, like passage of time or things like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and it really goes to show like the fact that they include this special feature. I don't know if you heard people say like Criterion is oftentimes referred to as film school in a
Yeah,
box. So that's kind of like what I thought of when I was watching this one.
me
It's
too.
just breaking down like the editing techniques and the camera angles and things like that. So things that sometimes I don't really notice when I'm watching a film.
Yeah,
But when you kind of sit down and listen to somebody talk about that, it's pretty interesting, and like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, um, it, it it's really effective when you think about it.
it is. And there was one scene in particular, and I didn't notice it until they talked about it in the special features, because it was 1941 and they can't show, sexual stuff really.
Mhm.
Um, that was one of the things that they did when they were they were in bed together. It
Mhm.
transitioned into a black screen, and then it was the next scene was like in the morning. So it gives you that idea that they did their business,
Yeah.
but they're not able to show that. So those techniques are interesting, and you know, I have those techniques on my iMovie for free, so we don't think about that now. But 1941, to be able to do that and have those, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, hey, I do this when I edit my videos,
Yeah,
like the dissolve and the fade to
that's all
black.
I can do is fade to black and dissolve. That's all I know how to do.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna put
but
that on my resume and submit it to
yeah,
some studios.
yeah. But in the early 40s, like it's impressive.
Yeah,
So we got to take that into consideration as well. But
very true, man. Very true. Yeah, and aside from that,
did you
that
check
was.
out the version comparisons?
Oh yeah, I watched that really quickly. The one that
Yeah, it was like
Criterion
5 minutes.
does when they compare the film before the restoration and after, right? Like they show like
And
what it
there was
looked like.
that, but they were showing like the differences between some of the scenes, and it was the very first one, and it was like the only thing that they changed was basically when something shit happened, uh, Mr. Scratch like appeared in that like black and white
Oh
kind of
yeah, that creeped me out, man. When I saw
yeah,
that, I was like, "What did I see? Am
yeah,
I seeing something?"
yeah. So basically like in the original film, every time that like something bad happened, Mr. Scratch would appear in that like, what do you call that? Where it was like kind of like black and white, but like
Yeah, like a
vapor
negative
tone. Yeah,
type of thing. Yeah,
something like that. And then I guess they just changed it to where he didn't. And I think it was like his shadow instead. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was just like a quick like 5 minute kind of thing.
yeah. No, I didn't see that one. I only saw the one that where they show up the cleanup of the film, like all
Yeah,
the imperfections, dust, breaks in the film, and
yeah.
whatnot, and then they show the restoration and how much cleaner it looks.
It
So
did. That's a like another fair point to mention. Like they put in work in the restoration, man. Like when I first saw it, like I thought it looked good, but like seeing what it originally looked like and then seeing the final product, man, like you got to give kudos to Criterion there for their effort.
yeah, man, because we forget like these films are old. Like they've been around for a long time,
Yeah,
and that's one thing I love about Criterion is how they just preserve films, and
yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I like collecting them because it in a way you feel like you're doing your part in preserving some older films, and in a way you're preserving history because I mean film matters because
yeah.
it was somebody's um,
Their
vision, it was
plan.
somebody's idea. You know, this it was originally a short story, and you're helping keep it alive in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for like a different adaptation of it, like a modern adaptation of it. I think it'd be cool to get something like that. That like and that's why Criterion is my favorite label to collect for. Not because I think I'm a snob or anything like that. Like a lot of their art films, I actually don't really have, but I just love the work that they put into their releases. Like I I don't think I've ever seen like a Criterion release that is like bare bones and just you know what I mean, like a money
Yeah.
grab kind of thing. Like they put in work into everything that they release, and that's why they're my favorite to
I mean,
collect.
yeah, I like supporting them even when they put out releases like this, and even though it's just Blu-ray, everybody wants the 4K on everything, but this is a film from the 40s. Like it
Yeah,
already looks fantastic considering what the source has been through and the fact
yeah.
that it's been restored to a really really good quality already. Like just because you don't slap a 4K on there, it doesn't mean anything. It's
And
still
you don't need 4K for everything. Like this, this isn't the type of movie that it needs a 4K. Like the Blu-ray is fantastic. It looks incredible. Like if you guys are worried about not checking it out because it's a Blu-ray, like push that to the side because it is well worth your time in my opinion.
yeah. And Criterion is one of the few, I guess, labels where I don't upgrade any Blu-rays. I I know that you have and that you do,
Yeah,
and I might for maybe like my absolute favorites, but
yeah,
like to me, Criterion is just the Blu-rays already look really good.
yeah.
I mean, I don't see
That
maybe for an older transfer, like I guess maybe for my favorite films, but even then, I think they already do a great job as it is. So I don't.
Yeah, I was like that too. Like I didn't want to, but like I ended up doing it. Like I knew I for sure wanted to upgrade Blowout and Videodrome. But and then I ended up upgrading a couple of the Lynch ones because I just think he's so unique and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think the Blu-rays they nail it, man. They
Yeah.
they nail it.
Yeah, for sure. I guess one last thing, man. We didn't even talk about our score, but uh, what did you end up giving this on Letterbox? I guess out of 5 stars, what would you give this film?
Yeah, so I actually initially gave it a 4, which was an 8.5 for me. After watching the supplements and just thinking back on the film, and I was itching. I didn't have time to rewatch it. I want to rewatch the film again. I raised it to a 9. Like I couldn't justify going any lower than that. Like I enjoyed the film so much. I enjoyed the supplements. It made me appreciate the film more because of its history. And then just the fact that I was itching to rewatch it, it was a 9 for me, man. 9 out of 10. The only reason it wasn't a 10 was because maybe the little bit in the middle, I think maybe dragged a little bit. If I'm nitpicking, and again, I think the ending, I would have liked something darker and maybe consequences, I guess, for his decision. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
other than that, man, like performances, cinematography, tone of the film, just great, great
yeah.
story, fantastic.
Gotcha, man. Yeah, special features always make me appreciate a film more. So
Yeah,
that's why I really like diving into those kinds of things. Like that's happened to me too, where I watch a film, I like it, but then after the special features, my score goes up for it just because I maybe catch on some things that I didn't notice, like we are talking about with some of those camera angles or the editing
yeah,
techniques. So like, oh man, like that's so cool, and it kind of makes me enjoy the film or at least appreciate it a little more.
yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, man, I don't blame you. I mean, I wasn't as high on it as you, even though I
Mhm.
did really enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5. Just because I feel like also like I'm not really as well versed into older films as you are. Like I know you're a big fan of, those classic era
Yeah,
40s.
yeah. When we did our stream, I said my favorite decade is the 40s and the 50s. So this was
It's right up your alley.
it was right up my alley. But like I had expectations for it, but like I said, like it exceeded all those expectations for me. So yeah, honestly, it might. I don't know. With more of a rewatch, like when I watch it 2, 3 times, it might go up to a 10. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I
that's
really,
awesome. Yeah,
really like it.
some high praise right there.
Yeah,
I can see myself. I want to give this one a rewatch during, like I said, like maybe October,
yeah,
and maybe that'll bump up my score a little bit. But I still like 3.5 out of 5 for me. That's a good film. I if I give something a 3.5, that means I really liked it. So
yeah,
it's definitely I think worth checking out. I think if you are maybe if you've never really bought or watched movies from the 40s, I don't know. Would you say this is like a good one to start with?
yeah. I do. I was just actually going to say that. I think it's a really good introduction to the 40s because it doesn't have that like it's an old movie, but it doesn't necessarily feel like an old movie. Like it doesn't have that kind of old dialogue. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
a lot of older films have, like especially with like more of the slapstick comedy kind of stuff. It's very like it feels like a film that would be made like I don't know. I don't want to say like modern times, but
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like it's from the 40s necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree there. But was I wanted to say something and I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but I was on that track of oh, I remember now. Because the reason I asked that was, anyone watching, maybe considering to buy it, would this be one obviously that you recommend? I mean, clearly you have high praise for it. I mean, as a blind buy, maybe someone who hasn't really watched or maybe you have watched 40s movies. This is definitely a recommend from you, I would assume.
Yeah, if depending on when you upload this, technically there should be maybe 1 day left on the sale. At, for $20, man, easy recommendation. Easy recommendation. If you're not into maybe older films, again, I think it's a good start. But if you're not into it, wait till November. Maybe don't pay the full price. But if you can get this one for $20, man, during they do it in November, right? The Barnes and Noble.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get them here in Canada, but definitely, if you can't get it, I think it ends tomorrow, the 28th. If you can't get it in July, then definitely get it in November.
Yeah, I'd say definitely pick it up at some point. Maybe even during a flash sale. I know if you order off Criterion, you get those points as well, so it adds up for a reward at some point. But yeah, flash sale or November sale.
Yeah, and another thing too is like, so like I sell on eBay as well, and like I don't have a problem selling movies. If you get this for $20 and it's a movie that you don't like, you will easily get your money back. Like I sell my Criterions on eBay for $32, and I profit, like I make still $27 off of them. So like I'm still making money even if I'm not making money, but I'm breaking even basically if it's a movie I don't like. So there's really no harm in trying it and seeing if you like it, kind of thing,
So when you sell on eBay, do you sell only like to buyers from Canada?
Yeah, so I've been selling on eBay, I don't know, like 4 years now, and I used to do international, so to the States and Canada, and at some point, shipping to the States became like over $20 for just this.
Yeah.
And they changed the whole process. Like you have to have like their like phone number. It became really weird to get through Canada Post. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I just started shipping to Canada. This with tax is like $3.60 to ship. So I post it for $32. eBay takes its fee, pay the $3.60. I still make about $25 off of a release.
Yeah, not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I got to start doing that because I own some Criterions that I don't really see myself rewatching or I didn't like that much. I usually give films a second watch before I before I decide to get rid of them. But I mean, sometimes there's that one where you just know, like this wasn't really for me, and you kind of just part ways with it. But I haven't sold off any yet, but I definitely got to start doing that. Make some space for some new ones.
You know what, man? Like I don't know what it's like in the States, but like in Canada, like I don't make a lot of money. So the way that I fund my collection is by selling the stuff that I'm not going to rewatch. Like sometimes I'll even sell a movie that I like, but if it's not one that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to rewatch that, I just get rid of it. Like I'd rather have movies in my collection that it's like, if someone picks it off the shelf, I'm like, yep, let's watch it. No problem. Not one where I'm like, I kind of don't want to watch it again. Like I've already seen it. It's good, but I've already seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have a lot of those in my collection. So
sorry?
No, yeah, I have a lot of those in my collection where I'm just like, I don't really feel like watching that.
Dude, I'm not even like exaggerating. Like I want to say like 6 to 8 months ago, I had 1,200 movies. I'm down to just under 900. Like I've sold in the last like 6 to 8 months, like what, 300 movies?
I mean, that sounds like a healthy way to collect, because then at some point your room gets
for it, bro. Go for it. Buy every release, man. But like my kid's 10 months, like I got a girl who likes to eat a lot. So I gotta sell this shit, man. And I have hobbies too. Like I don't know if maybe people don't know, like I'm a big Pokemon collector. I buy a lot of. Here's my wife now looking at.
I take that back.
I buy a lot of Pokemon cards as well. So like you have to make funds on the side somehow.
Yeah, and then space becomes an issue. Like I just ordered a shelf because I ran out of space, man. Like I had to rearrange. I usually record facing this wall right here. But right now it's blank and I moved some stuff around, so I'm kind of shuffling things around in here. So, I'm expecting a new shelf, and I had to do some reorganizing. I have all my Criterions kind of stacked in a corner over here. They're just all over the place right now because they're gonna go on that new shelf. Because this last sale put me over my.
It's funny that you say that because I was just reorganizing my shit, and I'm actually gonna do like an in-depth tour kind of thing. And man, like space is an issue, and I'm kind of another reason why I'm selling is because unless I move to a 3-bedroom, so right now I live in a 2-bedroom, I have a room just for my shit. So unless I move to a 3-bedroom, I'm gonna have to give up that room for my daughter. So that's another reason I'm trying to downsize, because if I move into the space here that we have, like a little reading area, it's condensed by like 75%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Collecting is definitely it has its ups and downs, its pros and cons for sure, but it's
Yeah.
fun. We love it,
Yeah.
and especially Criterion. So,
How many movies did you buy this past haul?
man, I want to say about, because I know I recorded a haul and I think I had said 12, but I don't remember if I bought after that. Maybe like another two. I can't
Mm,
recall. I think I did. Yeah, I think I ended up buying two after that. I ended up buying after I made my haul video. I bought Perfect Days and
yes.
maybe one more. I can't remember. So maybe like 13, 14 at the
Yeah, I
most.
just ended up getting Perfect Days and Risky Business as well, but I had to pay full price for them
Ooh,
because
ouch.
so I don't know how you're not there at Barnes and Noble every day. I would be there every freaking day, but usually what I do is for the last 3 years I just go for one day and I just go and buy. Like this year I bought 20. Last year I bought 28, I think it was. So I just like
Yeah.
I only go
Yeah.
once. So I just buy as
You
much.
have to buy in bulk.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, well, trust me, man. I do make quite a bit of stops. I just don't always like post about it or anything. But if I'm near one, more if I drive, doing some errands and I drive by one, I might make a quick stop for sure.
yeah.
And even during like when the sale's not going on, I'll still stop by and like I'll take a quick glance through the Criterion section, like wishing there was a sale going on, and it's like, oh man, I have to wait till July or November. It's like,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah,
it's
man.
only it was it's only about an hour and a half for me to cross the border. I'm pretty close to Buffalo, so it's not too bad. But yeah, man, Barnes and Noble, like even like I bought a lot of they had a lot of Studio Ghibli steelbooks on sale that weren't advertised on sale, so they were like $18 US. And then Barnes and Noble, like I had like $20 off from last year, so they have good deals, man. Like you just kind of have to look.
Yeah. Yeah. I just picked up a couple of I picked up that Conan the Barbarian Arrow
Yes.
4K from Barnes and Noble, and it had like I think 30% off or something like
Yeah.
that. So I ended up paying maybe, I don't remember what it was. It was marked pretty high. So maybe like, I don't remember if it was 30 or $40. But either way, like that's kind of what it goes for either way, on
Yeah,
Amazon
I
or
find that again. I don't know. I'm not really there. I don't know your pricing, but I find that they're a little bit higher than like when I went to like Target and Walmart.
yeah, Barnes and Noble definitely like marks their prices really high. Like a regular Blu-ray will be like sometimes even $40 or something like that.
Fair
Like
enough.
the price tag will say, but like they'll do random sales. Like they'll just put a sticker on it, like that'll say 30% off, 20% off.
Are you
So
talking about Barnes
a
and
lot of
Noble?
yeah, Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But a
yeah.
lot of times with those random sales, it'll just be regular price. So
The Studio Ghibli Steelbook, one of the stickers had 40% off, and none of the other ones had a sticker. So I just asked. I was like, "Are like, is this on sale?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then I asked her to scan all of them, and she's like, "Yeah, they're all on sale, but none of them had a sticker or anything."
oh wow.
So I got them all for sale. Like they ended up all being 30% off. The one she gave me for 40 because the sticker was 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes you'll find some hidden gems because they'll have like some Arrow titles with slipcover still, uh,
yeah,
or
dude.
like Screw
So when I
Factory.
went there, like I ended up picking from Barnes and Noble. I got like Challengers. I got Twister. And they were all like 30% off. And then because of the discount that I had from last year, like I think I got Twister for like 21 US. Challengers was like 22 US. So when I
Mm.
went, it was cheaper than the prices at Target and Walmart. So I ended up getting it from Barnes and Noble when I went there.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to shop. Occasionally, like if there's a sale or the sale going on, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, man. I guess we can wrap up the review here.
yeah. Yeah. Without talking
But
about this shit.
yeah, no, it's fun, man. I can talk about collecting all the time.
I
We can
know.
talk a little bit more off the
Yeah,
camera here, but or the recording. But um, all in all, overall, a strong recommendation
yeah,
for all that money can buy. I don't know if this will go up after the sale, but you can always get it on in November, or sometimes Amazon continues to price match Barnes and Noble even
Yeah.
after the sale, I've noticed. So you might want to check on Amazon as well. But yeah, uh, that's gonna do it. Once again, thanks, man. I appreciated your insight and your thoughts, taking the time to be here. And to anyone watching, thank you. I hope this was useful. I hope you were able to get something out of this review. And yeah, Alex, you got anything coming up that you want to shout out real quick? Any more Criterion content we can expect from you? Or I know you said you
Man,
have a tour.
I was on this push to get to 1,000 subs, and I was like recording videos every 3 days, and then work started happening in like summer, and I have no time, no energy to make any videos. I haven't made one in forever, but I thought this was a good a good little way to get back into things. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I have any content coming up for
No worries.
the foreseeable future, dude.
No worries, man. All right, it's all good. You might get that inspiration all of a sudden, and you'll just sit and record. So
Yeah.
but yeah, thanks again, once again, man. I appreciate it. I'll have, once again, timestamps in the description if you want to skip around. I know we're kind of all over the place, but uh, like I said, Alex's information will also be in the description. So give him a sub if you haven't already. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.
See you guys.